We got the 4Runner up in the air. So let's do a safety inspection on an absolute mysterious car. So before driving a mysterious car you have absolutely no history on, it's best to jack up the front end and make sure the wheels are not going to fall off. So the most important thing is probably to look at the lower ball joints, the upper ball joints, see if there's any play in the suspension before taking it for a drive. On this specific Toyota, we just put the wheel up in the air and get a pry bar, and we're just feeling for looseness in the front end. Shockingly, this one is absolutely tight. But as we can see here, it is missing the sway bar bushing, so never underestimate a visual inspection before driving a car. So this is definitely going to need a rack and pinion, but there's nothing safety concern as I can see so far. So even though the front suspension is tight, we need to do an inspection on the dust covers of the ball joints. So as we can see, this one is ripped. Anytime you have a ripped dust boot in a ball joint, it's a good idea to replace it. But as this is being completely tight in the front end, it is okay to drive. Moving over to the other side of the car, take a quick look at those brake rotors, and this one has definitely been super hot at some point. So there's probably something wrong with the brakes on this truck, but remember, we're just going for that basic safety inspection by shaking the front end. So on the driver's side, once again, it looks like we have a little bit of wear on our lower ball joint dust boot, but there is no play in the suspension, so we're good to drive. There's definitely a problem occurring in the brakes because it's such a hot spot on the brake rotor. So it's a good idea to check the calipers and make sure nothing is frozen, like they are retracting back into their home position. So on this truck, it has fixed calipers, so you just remove those pins and squeeze those brake rotors, brake pads back into place. This will be mostly applicable to older cars. This would be the drum brakes, and we're just going to do an inspection for brake fluid inside of the brake drum. So this is never a fun job. You basically hammer on this thing and hopefully there's some threads in there so you can drive some bolts to remove the drum. So anytime you're inside of these brake shoes, you need to peel back this little rubber thing and look for brake fluid. Because of the brake fluid or the gear oil gets in here, it's an expensive fix with new brake shoes and drums. So this one is shockingly completely dry, but I did discover the wheel bearing is making quite a bit of noise on the rear right. If you have a rear-wheel drive truck, it's super important to do an inspection on the driveline. We're not worried about all the oil in this truck. We're looking for free play in the suspension and the drivetrain. So this one is shockingly loose. Like, it is literally about to fall out of the truck, so this is a no-drive truck in its current situation. There's only one way to pinpoint if it's the driveline or the transmission being bad. The driveline needs to be unbolted. Shockingly, the stake came out of the transfer case, so this is going to be a simple tighten the nut up, and we didn't have a driveline basically blow through the back of the car. After like a 20-minute safety inspection, this thing is absolutely safe to drive, at least around the block, but I highly recommend inspecting the car before test driving it if it's an absolute mystery mobile. This is a long series of videos restoring this classic 1997 third generation 4Runner, so if you want to see the entire build, click this playlist on your screen.